Good morning, children. In the last period, we have started to discuss the third chapter of history, the Delhi Sultans. In this chapter, we have discussed about the Delhi. We have seen in the second chapter that in the second chapter there is no mention of the Delhi at all. And it is because the Delhi has got its importance in the 12th century. This all the things we have discussed about the Delhi. From 13th century, the different rulers have started to rule over the Delhi, and the Delhi Sultanate started to emerge. Before the Delhi Sultanate, there was the rule of Tomaras and Chauhan dynasties of Rajput dynasty basically, and then different sultans have ruled over the Delhi. As well as we have also discussed about the how we have found about the Delhi Sultans. We have seen in that we have found about the sultans in the histories. The histories were written in the Persian language, and histories was called as the Tawarikh. Histories or Tawarikh is a plural word and the Tarikh is a singular word. We have also seen the preparation stages, 4 different stages of the preparation of the manuscript paper and the manuscript. Then we have also discussed about the circle of justice. In this we have seen that how the king, soldier, peasants, all the people are connected to each other. All these things we have seen. We have also understood the meaning of birthright and gender distinction. In this we have seen that only the people, those who are belonging to the ruling dynasties, will become the ruler by birthright. As well as we have seen there was a kind of a social order, and in this social order the gender distinction was there. On the basis of this, here we have seen the example of Razia Sultan, that how the Razia was a ruler who was a woman also. Menazisiras, a chronicler of that age, recognized that she was more able and qualified than all her brothers, but he was not. He means so Menazisiras was not comfortable as having a queen as ruler. So in this way he said everything about the gender distinction and birthright. Today we are going to see what Menazisiras thought about Razia. So Menazisiras thought that the queen's rule was against the ideal social order created by God. That means Menazisiras was completely against the woman as a ruler, because it was against the social order created by the God. In the social order that is created by the God, women were supposed to be the subordinate to men. And he therefore asked, in the register of God's creation, since her account did not fall under column of men, how did she gain from all of her excellence qualities? So here he mentions, Menazisiras mentions that in the register of God's creation, means as God has created the world and whatever he has written about the social order, how the woman can become a ruler even though she has all kind of qualities or excellence in her. As well as further he also mentions, on her inscriptions and coins, Razia mentioned that she was a daughter of Sultan Iltutmish. This was in contrast to the queen Rudrama Devi. Here it is said, this was in contrast the Rudrama Devi of the Kakatiya dynasty of Warangal, part of modern Andhra Pradesh. Rudrama Devi changed her name or her inscriptions and pretended she was a man. Another queen, Didda, ruled in Kashmir from 980 to 1003 AD. Her title is interesting. It comes from Didi, or elder sister, and obviously affectionate term given to a loved ruler by her subject. So here, as the Razia Sultan was the ruler at that time, there is one more example that how a woman was a ruler. Rudrama Devi was a ruler of the Kakatiya dynasty in the Varangal of the Andhra Pradesh, today's Andhra Pradesh. Rudrama Devi changed her name on her inscription, and she pretended herself as a man, as she was woman, but even then she pretended herself as a woman. Another queen, Didda, she ruled in Kashmir region. This Didda word basically comes from the Didi, and the meaning of Didi means what? Elder sister. As obviously affectionate term, it was an affectionate term that was given to the Didi or Didda as she was a ruler. She was a loved ruler, it is said in this way. Why she was called Didda? Because Didda is an affectionate word, and the people of that area were loving them, were loving her. So in this way, how the Minaz Siraz was against the Razia as a ruler, even though she has many qualities and all that. Now the next point we are going to understand is from garrison town to empire, the expansion of Delhi Sultanate. Here we are going to see that how the Delhi expanded from a small garrison town to the huge empire. So in the early 13th century, the control of Delhi sultans rarely went beyond heavily fortified towns occupied by garrisons. The sultans seldom controlled the hinterland of cities and were therefore dependent upon trade, tribute, or plunder for supply. So here it is mentioned that in the 13th century, there was a control on the Delhi was completely rare and went beyond heavily fortified towns occupied by garrisons. Means their control was till in the 13th century, the sultan's control was basically in the fortified towns, and which was called as the garrison. The fortified towns or the garrison towns are what basically? These are the towns of soldiers where the soldiers are living, and the sultan seldom controlled hinterland. What is hinterland? The land adjacent to a city or port that supply with goods and services. That means at the initial of the sultanate, at the beginning of the sultanate, there was no control over the hinterland, and in that way only till the garrison town the control of sultans were there. Controlling garrison town in distinct Bengal and Sindh from Delhi was extremely difficult. So here they say that even the Delhi Sultanate was so huge, but but controlling the huge area from the garrison town was completely difficult, and therefore it was extremely difficult. Rebellion, war, even bad weather could snap fragile communication routes. Means, as there was the, for example, if the rebel is going on, war is going on, or if the bad weather is there, so all kind of communications that were going on from the garrison town to the Delhi, it was completely difficult that time, and therefore here also said that the state was also challenged by Mongol invasions from Afghanistan and by governors who rebelled at any sign of Sultan's weakness. So that time whatever the governors were there from Afghanistan and Mongols were there, so whenever sultans whenever they were observing the sign of weakness of sultan, so immediately they were trying to control over those regions wherever the sultanate was expanded. Its expansion occurred during the reign of Ghiyazuddin Balban, Alauddin Khalji, and Muhammad Tughlaq. So here it is said that the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate occurred during the reign of Ghiyazuddin Balban, Alauddin Khalji, and Muhammad Tughlaq. So the first set of campaign along the internal frontier of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of garrison towns. During these campaigns, forests were cleared in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, and hunter gatherers and pastoralists expelled from their habitat. So here it is said that the first set of campaign of the military campaign basically was under or internal frontiers, inside the internal frontiers of the Sultanate, and it was aiming to consolidate all the regions of or the hinterlands around the garrison town. During this campaign, various forest or the forest areas were cut down or cleared, especially in the Ganga and Yamuna Doab, and hunters gatherers from this forest or the pastoralists who were settled inside this uh, inside this forest were expelled from their habitat. Expelled from their habitat means they were moved out or removed out from the jungles, and in this way these lands were given to peasants for doing the agriculture. That means for growing the crop or or doing the for doing the agriculture, the lands were given to the peasants or agriculturalists. So new fortresses and towns were established to protect the trade towns and to promote regional trade. And the second expansion, the further second expansion occurred along the external frontier of the Sultanate. Means if the first expansion occurred in the internal frontiers, and the second expansion occurred in the external frontiers. In this way, military expeditions into southern India started during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. So under the reign of the Alauddin Khalji, the military expeditions started to move toward the southern part of the India or Indian subcontinent, and culminated with Muhammad Tughlaq. In their campaign, Sultanate armies captured elephants, horses and slaves and carried away precious metals from here. By the end of the Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, 150 years after somewhat humble beginning, the armies of the Delhi Sultanate had marched across a large part of subcontinent. They had defeated rival armies and seized cities. The Sultanate collected taxes from the peasantry and dispensed justice in its realm. But how complete and effective was its control over the vast territory? So here it is said, by the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, after 150 years, the humble beginnings were started, and the armies of the Delhi Sultanate has marched across the large part of the subcontinent, means in the huge part of the subcontinent, and they defeated rival armies and seized cities, different cities. And the Sultanate of the Sultan collected taxes from the peasantry and dispensed justice in its realm. So the Sultanate collected taxes from the peasants as well as they dispensed justice in its realm. But how complete, the question comes over here, how complete and effective was its control over such a vast territory? So in this map, as you can see here, Alauddin Khalji's campaign into South India is shown. So you can see over here from Delhi to Thanjavur, the complete expedition was taken place from the Delhi to south in the 1311. He moved toward the Thanjavur from the Delhi. In this way, different arrows are showing here the expeditions of or the military campaign into the southern part of the country. So the further part of the chapter, like various monuments that were made by the sultans, we will discuss in the next period. Till then, thank you very much.